welcome to the channel. I'm back to break down this 9-game NBA DFS slate on DraftKings. Before we get into it, if you do enjoy the content at any point in this video, if you could please leave a like on this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell, I would greatly appreciate that. Right on the brink of 400 subscribers, so we're going to make our way up to 500, so thank you to everyone that's supported so far. I look forward to continuing to growing and providing you guys with some valuable content as to how we can win some money on these NBA DFS slates. If you are getting really serious about NBA DFS and playing every single night, I would highly recommend my NBA DFS Patreon package over here on Patreon, where you can get access to my premium NBA projections, NBA datasheet, player stats, team stats, play context stats, core plays, injury impact insights, and NBA Discord chat access. Very affordable price, especially compared to the rest of the industry. I've been playing daily fantasy sports since 2016. I'm aware of what these other sites have to offer, and they offer these things typically at, like $30, $40 a month. I've gone ahead and put together a package that offers everything they offer and more at a much more affordable price. You're paying about $10 a month to get access to all of these tools. So check that out if interested. And if not, no worries. If you're more of a casual player, if you just want to be here for the free content, I will be here all NBA DFS season long, breaking down these slates for free. And don't forget to stay tuned to the end of the video, where I will give you my lock of the night. It's a segment I do every single video on this channel, where I give you my number one guy that I'd be locking in to every one of my lineups. Sometimes it's going to be high tier, low tier, mid tier, all of the above. So stay tuned for that. And with that being said, let's go ahead and start breaking down this slate today. First game on the slate, Boston taking on Atlanta. Right now, this game comes in with a 227.5 over-under with a 3.5-point spread in favor of the Boston Celtics. So I'm expected to be a fairly decently paced game. A lot of games on this slate are right in the realm of this over-under. So right on par with the rest of the top paced games on the slate. John Collins is questionable on this one. He did not return in the second half last time out due to concussion protocol. So I tend to think he won't be available in this one. And if that is the case, we're going to definitely get some more minutes and usage for guys like Kevin Hoarder, Danilo Gallinari, who started the second half for him, and as well as some more wing minutes for guys like Solomon Hill and Tony Snell. So not exactly the best fantasy point per minute producers, those guys, so not really sure we're trying to go there. Danilo Gallinari, on the other hand, may be a guy that you want to be taking a hard look at, because he can definitely produce if he gets the opportunity. Still only played 23 minutes last time out, though, so he seems to be somewhat limited to, around that minute range. So just buyer beware there. But, yeah, pretty much what it's going to do overall is it's going to give a big bump to Clint Capella at 7-8. He's not going to have to compete with John Collins on the glass, so I'm going to like Clint Capella just that much more in this one for sure if John Collins is out. And then, of course, the other starting pieces. So Trae Young, Kevin Hoarder, these guys are going to get a lot more usage and or fantasy point upside just naturally. It's a domino effect when you're taking guys out of the starting rotation. Someone has to shoot, so all of these guys are going to be getting a lot more shot volume, a lot more opportunity. Kevin Hoarder, a guy that I was really high on last night, went out there and put up 37 DraftKings points. Graded out very well in my projections, and I wouldn't be surprised to see him grade out pretty well again tonight, especially if John Collins is out of this rotation. So, and then on the Boston side, you got Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Kemba Walker. Kemba Walker, I'd be interested to see if maybe they rest him on the second half of a back-to-back. So if that's the case, I'd give a big bump to guys like Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. If Kemba Walker's in at 6'2", we can continue to play him at that price tag, take it on Atlanta. Definitely not worried about the defense for either one of these point guards, Kemba Walker and or Trae Young. So both these guys have a very good matchup taking on each other. Not really the best defensive point guards out there. And then, of course, Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, the next guys on this Boston team as far as upside. Both these guys, very good plays in this matchup taking on Atlanta. So I like both of them. And then lastly, you're looking to Daniel Theis, Tristan Thompson, the bigs that are getting all these minutes. Daniel Theis consistently playing upper 20s, mid 30s minutes. Same thing for Tristan Thompson, who's coming off the bench, but he's getting his minutes cut into a little more by Robert Williams. So just buyer beware. Robert Williams getting a few more minutes, so Tristan Thompson's becoming a little more risky. But honestly, you can throw all three of these centers in a position, or all three of these centers in tournaments, and feel like, they definitely have the upside to get you there. Houston taking on Cleveland, second game on the slate. Right now, this game comes in with a 217 over under with a 3-point spread in favor of the Houston Rockets. So expected to be a very slow-paced game here. However, Victor Oladipo is listed as questionable. DeMarcus Cousins is now being released by the Houston Rockets. So that's going to give more usage to, all of these wing players, especially if Eric Gordon and Victor Oladipo are out. I mean, if one of these guys are out, it's still going to give a bump up. But you're looking at guys like Jae'Sean Tate, Daniel House, David Nwaba, all of these guys getting more usage. PJ Tucker, and then if all of these guys are out, maybe even a Ben McLemore at 3-2, and maybe even a Kurucs down here all the way at 3K if we find out that all of these guys are sitting. So just keep an eye on that injury news. As it stands right now, there's no Christian Wood, there's no DeMarcus Cousins. I mean, there could possibly be no PJ Tucker, so I would tend to think Kurucs or Patton or somebody would have to play, but PJ Tucker is listed as probable, so he's pretty much the center on this team now, as weird as that is to say. But yeah, long story short, you're playing Jae'Sean Tate, you're playing David Nwaba, you're playing Daniel House. All these guys getting bump up in usage and minutes. My favorite would be Jae'Sean Tate for sure, followed by probably David Nwaba, then Daniel House. I mean, honestly, it's pretty close. Both these guys are pretty similar as far as their fantasy point per minute output. But I do think that David Nwaba has been consistently performing a little bit better as far as on the high end of things. So that's what I'd be looking to. And then, of course, John Wall's the number one option out of all these guys. He's going to get the most usage, the most shot volume, all of the above. So at 8-3, he makes some sense. Just keep in mind it's a slower-paced game. Then on the Cleveland side, we have seen a lot of guys go down as well. So you got Jared Allen, Colin Sexton, Darius Garland, Chetty Osman. And honestly, those are the guys I'm looking to play on their side. And it's very straightforward. They're getting all the minutes, all the usage. I'm not looking to get cute with anyone else down on the rotation. Outside of, I will say that Windler did start last time out at 3,700. He played 22 minutes and put up 28.75, so like maybe, but and even then, like I said, I'm looking to play the main candidates here. It's Chetty, it's Darius Garland, it's Colin Sexton, it's Jared Allen. And yeah, Golden State taking on Indiana. This game comes in, well, first of all, Domantas Sabonis is priced all the way up to 10.5, the most expensive price tag he's had on the year by far. A 228.5 over under with a 2-point spread in favor of the Indiana Pacers. So this game is the top total on the slate. And Domantas Sabonis, as mentioned, priced all the way up to 10.5 for a good reason. I mean, this guy's just been absolutely going off. Last time out, putting up 82.5 DraftKings points. There is no Victor Oladipo on the Indiana Pacers. Him and Malcolm Brogdon, I say it every single video it seems, but it's just true. These guys have taken a big leap in usage. Malcolm Brogdon putting up 52 and 58 DraftKings points the last two times out. And they're in the top pace game on the slate. So I'm going to continue to prioritize Domantas Sabonis and Malcolm Brogdon. The fact that Sabonis is priced up to 10.5, it makes you kind of, take a look 3 times, but he's earned it at this point. So still playing him. Golden State, it's Stephen Curry, it's Kelly Oubre continuing to really stand apart from the rest of the field on this team. Stephen Curry consistently putting up mid-50s to 60 DraftKings points. And Kelly Oubre all the way up to 7K now, but for good reason, because he's consistently been putting up like 40 DraftKings points. So a guy that was really struggling early on in the season, finally getting it together. And then you got Draymond Green and Andrew Wiggins in the mid-6K range that you could definitely be looking to as well. If I'm prioritizing one of these guys, it would be Draymond Green due to the fact that he is practically this team center right now. I mean, they are working back James Wiseman, so if Wiseman gets to start, that could change things. But right now, I'm liking Draymond Green a lot. And then outside of Malcolm Brogdon and Domantas Sabonis on the Indiana side, you're really looking at Miles Turner and Doug McDermott. All these guys that are priced kind of in this mid-5K range are all viable options. TJ McConnell, Justin Holiday, Doug McDermott, because they're getting fairly decent minutes here. Consistently in the rotation, and they're the ones I'd be looking to. Outside of anyone in this range, I wouldn't be looking at anyone. Justin Holiday playing a ton of minutes, playing like literally upper 30 to 40 minutes a game, so I have no issue with playing him, even though his fantasy point per minute production is down. A guy that's playing that many minutes can fall into a lot of blocks, steals, points, rebounds, and definitely get you there. Minnesota taking on Chicago. This game right now comes in with a 227.5 over-under with a 4.5-point spread in favor of the Chicago Bulls, and I do think that this game is going to offer a very friendly environment for many players. Number one being Karl-Anthony Towns. This Chicago front court has been one I've loved to target all season long, and he gets a great matchup taking on the Chicago front court, so I'm going to love Karl-Anthony Towns tonight at 9.7. Get him in your lineups. I'm going to love guys on the Chicago side as well because Minnesota's defense has been dreadful, so Zach LaVine, Kobe White both make a ton of sense in this one. Playing mid-30 minutes, being very good as far as producing fantasy points. And let's not forget, Zach LaVine, his initial come-up in the league was with these Minnesota Timberwolves, so there's a little bit of added motivation taking on his former team in this one. So like him, Malik Beasley at 6'5", Continues to be the second fiddle option to Karl Anthony Towns in the Minnesota Timberwolves offense with no D'Angelo Russell, so continue to play him. And then things get a little condensed down here, but you're really looking to the next three guys I'd be looking to play in this game are probably Thad Young, Wendell Carter Jr., and Anthony Edwards, and that's where I would draw the line. Thad Young consistently putting up 30-plus DraftKings points. Wendell Carter Jr. starting to get his minutes back up into the 30-minute range, so he's definitely an intriguing option. And then Anthony Edwards at 5'8", playing mid 30 minutes a game, definitely provides you with upside to get you there. And those are the guys I'd really be looking to in this game, especially Karl Anthony Towns and Zach LaVine. Both those guys, very good options on this slate today. Toronto taking on Miami. This game comes in with a 215.5 over-under, a 2-point spread in favor of the Miami Heat, the slowest pace game on the slate. We talked about that 217 over-under in the Houston-Cleveland game. This one's even slower, so yeah, I'm going to be honest with you guys. I like playing Jimmy Butler in tough games where he's taking on competitive opponents, but in a game that's so slow-paced at 9-3, I mean, last time out against OKC, similar scenario. I said I don't know if I want to play him. He put up 37 DraftKings points. That's just not going to get it done for you. Fred VanVleet, Pascal Siakam, maybe intriguing options if there is no Kyle Lowry in this one, just because of the natural bump that they get. So even though it's a slower-paced game, they're getting like 40 minutes a game, so they could be viable options for sure. But other than that, that's where I kind of cut things off. Norman Powell, continue to play him if there is no Kyle Lowry. And then if there is no Tyler Hero, Kendrick Nunn is an interesting option at 6'1". But that's it, guys. I mean, very slow-paced game. I'm not kind of trying to get too excited. It'll be interesting to see how these guys grade out my final projection run. But look to play the guys at the discount that are getting bumps in usage. So Norman Powell, Kendrick Nunn, they would both make a lot of sense if there's no Goran Dragic, Tyler Hero. Detroit taking on New Orleans. This game comes in with a 223 over-under with a 9.5-point spread in favor of the New Orleans Pelicans. Expected to be a blowout. Expected that the Pelicans win this one fairly easily. So just buyer beware. So, I mean, Zion Williamson, Brandon Ingram are still priced up. Zion Williamson now clearly being priced up ahead of Brandon Ingram at 8.8, as opposed to Brandon Ingram being down here at 8.1, which is kind of creating a Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum effect, honestly, where oftentimes I find myself playing Jaylen Brown over Jason Tatum strictly because of the slight discount decrease in similar output. So maybe Brandon Ingram is becoming a priority for me just based on DraftKings pricing. Then you got Jeremiah Grant on the Detroit side at 7'6". He's the only chance that these guys really have to stay in this game, so he's going to chuck a ton at 7'6". I think he's a viable play. This New Orleans defense has not been good. Mason Plumlee, same rule applies to him at 6'4". A big reason as to why this game would stay close, being out there on the court. And then you got Josh Jackson and Sadiq Bey. I actually do think that this Detroit side is a pretty interesting spot here on this slate. Even though this game's slower paced, they're going to need these guys to stay in the game, and these guys are all getting a ton of minutes and aren't exactly priced up yet. I think Sadiq Bey and Josh Jackson are both very intriguing options in the mid 5K and 6K range. So just keep an eye on them. And then you got Dennis Smith Jr. and Saben Lee down here who continue to get a lot of minutes, mainly Saben Lee. Saben Lee at 3.8 did play 33 minutes the time before and 29 minutes last night, putting up 30 and 34 DraftKings points. Now, he was only priced at 3.2. Now he's at 3.8. That's still not enough to warrant, not playing him. But I expect him to be some major chalk tonight. A lot of ownership going his way, so just keep that in mind. And then you got Svi Mikhailuk, who drew the start last time. Played 22 minutes. He was pretty popular, but his minutes seem to be capped, so I wouldn't be going there personally. A ton. You could definitely throw him into lineups. He's only 3-1, and he can shoot the 3-ball very effectively, but yeah. And then anyone else on the New Orleans side, I really just want to play Lonzo Ball and then play the blowout narrative. So Lonzo's my top option if this game stays close. If the game blows out, you could be looking to guys like Josh Hart, Hernan Gomez. These type of guys maybe could have big games when they pull the starters out the floor and give these guys some few more minutes. So, some intriguing blowout options for sure if you want to play that route, San Antonio taking on Oklahoma City. This game is also very, very slow. This game comes in with a 218 over-under, which as we go along the slate, we're finding out that there's a lot of boring games, to be honest. So DeMar DeRozan is listed as out. Keldon Johnson is listed as out. Derek White is listed as out. Rudy Gay is listed as out. So with it being said that this game's going to be boring, we do have some massive minutes and usage increase to these guys. So first guy I'm going to want to talk about is going to be Jonte Murray at 7-4. I think he could have a really big game in this one, strictly because of how much they're going to be relying on him. So even though it's a slower-paced game, he does make sense at 7-4. Jakob Poeltl at 6-4 also makes some sense. He'll be expected to play a lot of minutes. All these San Antonio guys in such a terribly paced game are actually going to be very interesting just due to the injuries. So Patty Mills, Lonnie Walker, both these guys, very intriguing options down here. Pretty good fantasy point per minute producers and going to get a lot of minutes. So definitely be looking to play these guys. And then, of course, you do have Trey Lyles at 3-2. And you got even Eubanks down here at 3K could be an intriguing option. So maybe even Trey Jones. But overall, we're going to really want to lock in on who's starting in this game. And then whoever's coming off the bench as a six-man is also going to be very viable on the San Antonio side. And then on the Oklahoma City side, it's Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. It's Al Horford at 6-4. With these guys being back, I do think that they're going to soak up a ton of the usage. So these other options on the Oklahoma City side aren't going to be as appealing, especially in a slower-paced game. I'm not going to have as much interest in a Darius Bazley or an Isaiah Roby at 5-3, 5-6, because Al Horford is back. I'm not going to have as much interest in a Diallo and a Dort with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander being back. So really locking in on the San Antonio side for the most part. I don't have an issue with playing Al Horford at 6-4 for the most part. He would be my favorite option on the Oklahoma City side. Charlotte taking on Phoenix. This game comes in with a 226 over-under with a 9.5 point spread in favor of the Charlotte Hornets, so not expected to stay close. In favor of the Phoenix Suns, actually, so not expected to stay close, and the Phoenix Suns are the heavy favorites. And Gordon Hayward is listed as questionable. Devontae Graham is already out, so I have a feeling that has a lot to do with the current line, so that may open up some usage and some more value options for us as well. Because if Gordon Hayward's out, we're going to have a lot more interesting guys like a P.J. Washington, a Miles Bridges, even a Malik Monk, because there is no Devontae Graham. These three guys in the mid-5K range become much more relevant plays. So definitely would advise playing some of them, as far as in Miles Bridges would also become viable. Your main options are going to be LaMelo Ball, Terry Rozier. They would be the two ones I'm really looking to lock in. They're priced up for good reason. They're going to be leaned on very heavily. I do prefer Terry Rozier strongly with a $1,000 discount to LaMelo Ball. It's strictly price per dollar and upside. I think they have similar upside, and Terry Rozier's a lot cheaper, so I would like to go to him. And then, you got Chris Paul at 7-7 on the Phoenix side. He's really the only one I'd be looking to play outside of DeAndre Ayton. I'm not playing Devin Booker at 8-3. I think his fantasy point upside continues to be somewhat capped with Chris Paul. He did put up 45.5 DraftKings points last time out, which is one of his best performances recently, but honestly, I'm not biting. I'll continue to play Chris Paul, DeAndre Ayton, and then my favorite cheap option would be Jay Crowder at 4-8. He continues to see quite a few minutes and pretty good fantasy point production. So if you have to go cheap, go to him, but I think we have some better options than like the San Antonio game, for example. And last game on the slate, Los Angeles Lakers taking on the Utah Jazz. This game comes in with a 219.5 over-under with an 8.5 point spread in favor of the Utah Jazz. Once again, expected not to be the fastest-paced game. And I'm really just looking to the main usage guys on the Lakers side in this one that are going to have to keep the game close. So it's LeBron James at 10-9 with no Anthony Davis. He's continuing to see a lot of usage. Kyle Kuzma at 6-7. Same rule applies to him. Continue to play him at 6-7. I think he has some upside to get you there. And then you're looking at Montrezl Harrell. There is no Dennis Schroeder, so you could be playing like a Kentavious Caldwell-Pope and Alex Caruso if you want. But really, I'm looking to lock in on Kyle Kuzma, LeBron James, Montrezl Harrell. These three guys are my favorite, most high upside options for sure. Montrezl Harrell putting up 43.75 DraftKings points last time out. He was my lock of the night. I really liked him, and I think I'm going to continue to like him going forward. He did get a slight price bump, but still like him. And then on the Utah side, honestly, I'm not really looking to anyone because Mike Conley's back, Jordan Clarkson, Donovan Mitchell, Rudy Gobert, all these guys are back. They're starting to feed into each other's usage, and I think they're all priced up for when Mike Conley was out. We had Joe Ingles starting, etc., etc. So I'm not all too interested on the Utah side, and that is my overall breakdown of this 9-game slate. Before I let you guys go, I got to give you my lock of the night. Let's get into it. And my lock of the night tonight is going to be Jonte Murray at 7-4 in a slow-paced game. Might not exactly get the ownership we would expect him to get with all these people out. I do think it'll be still highly owned, but not owned enough at 7-4. He's going to take on a lot of responsibility. This guy's a very good fantasy point per minute producer, and overall in his career so far, the biggest issue with him has been minutes. Coach Greg Popovich is going to have no choice but to play him a ton of minutes in this one, so I absolutely love Jonte Murray because we're going to get the minutes, we're going to get the usage, and we will definitely get the upside with so much responsibility headed his way in this one. Love Jonte Murray at the 7-4 price tag, and he is my lock of the night. So there you have it, guys. Jonte Murray, get him in your lineups. And that is all from me in this one. If you did enjoy the content, if you could please leave a like on this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell, I would greatly appreciate that. And then don't forget to check out my Patreon package linked below in the description. That is all from me. Wish you all the best of luck tonight, and we will see you in the next one.